Let's see if I can be presenting and seeing the chat.
Your screen is seen.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, and that's where I go to get, so I go to get the chat from up here, right?
Okay. Hello, Faraz, welcome.
Alga.
Hi, Faraz, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, Shabnam.
Hi everyone. So tell me, what's the special food from Azerbaijan, where you are from?
Oh, there are a lot of Shabnam.
Like what's like if I were there in person and we would go to a restaurant, what would I get for lunch?
Okay. Are there any restaurant in your country? I mean, in your city? In Azerbaijan restaurant, are there Azerbaijan restaurant in your city?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we have delicious food. For example, I hope you have. Okay, have you heard about dolma or plov? Dolma,
Yeah.
plov.
Okay.
These are our delicious food. Okay.
Nice.
Actually, we have good kitchen, so it's better for me to gather a lot of information regarding this point and send you back. Okay. Because I'm not really to answer to your question, but I remember.
Especially we eat barbecue kebab.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I think that was the. Is that you, item, right? Or I'm not sure who answered to the question. Yes, barbecue is also kebab. Okay, Shabnam, it's already 9 p.m. Actually, we are going to live on YouTube, and also we are going to start. Okay, if you don't mind. So I would like to begin with my presentation, if you don't mind, right? So I'm just going to share my screen. I think you see my screen, right? Okay. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Let me begin with the. Okay. Okay. So it's time. I'm starting with showing with one of the beautiful views of my lovely city, Baku, city of winds. I hope you see my screen. This is first of all, welcome to our meetup session, and I would like to thank to Shabnam Watson for her acceptance our invitation. I appreciate it. And this is a national stadium of Baku, and which has been built in 2015 before the first European Olympic Games. This stadium has hosted several games, including final football game between two English clubs, and also this was the place where first European Olympic Games took place. And recently, 4 European Games for football have been taking place in that place. So this is well-known stadium in Azerbaijan. And as for today's speaker, her name is Shabnam Watson from United States. I hope Shabnam will tell about herself more. And she will be talking about beginner's guide to publishing and sharing content in Power BI. And our next speaker is from United Kingdom. She is Pragati Jain, and she will be talking about bookmark tricks in Power BI to enrich reports. And in the second half of July, we are going to have Kasper Kamenšek from Slovenia, who is the organizer of Slovenian Excel Days event. And after Kasper Kamenšek, in the first half of the August, we are going to have Campus from Canada, with whom I have taken a picture during the Slovenian Excel Days event. And so once again, I would like to thank you for your attendance. Enjoy the session and see you on July 16th, 2021. So stage is yours, Shabnam. There you are.
Hey, hello everyone. Give me one moment. Let me share my screen and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm just starting. Okay.
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes, now I see, yes. Okay.
Okay, well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for hosting me. Thank you, Elgar, and everybody else. I understand it's 9 o'clock your time, so thank you for joining me this late in your day. I know everybody's had a full day of work and tired, so great to be with you here. I have been in IT for about 20 years. Most of my time has been in data warehousing and working with analysis services and Power BI in the most recent years. I'm a speaker, blogger, and data platform, Microsoft Data Platform MVP. So all my contact information is on the page. I would love to connect with you, whether you're on Twitter, LinkedIn, or email me. I also have a link to my blog that you can go, and I have slides from today posted there. They are a previous version, but I'm going to update them in the next hour to be the exact same slides that I'm going to show you today. Okay. All right, so I am going to turn off my camera so I don't distract myself, okay? There we go. Let me see if I can do this. There we go. Okay. And minimize this. All right. So this session is for sharing content in Power BI, right? So it's for, you have already created reports and now you want to know how to distribute the reports to other people using Power BI service. Now, we don't cover using Power BI on-prem report server. We don't talk about sharing with people outside of your organization or embedding with APIs. Those are more advanced options. This is more of a beginner session, right? So we're going to cover the basics. There are many ways to share in Power BI. You can, as you're going to see, you can share your content directly. You can share a report directly. You can use this container that's called an app, which is the best way to distribute your content from Power BI. You can embed your work in Microsoft Teams. You can embed in SharePoint. So there's many different ways, but if you're going to distribute to a large audience, the best way to go is really with an app. When you have a Power BI report, let's say you create a report in Power BI Desktop and you want to push it to the service to share it with others, right? You share your report, you publish your report to this container called a Workspace. Workspace is like, think of it as a folder in Power BI service. It's a place for you to collaborate with others. You can send multiple reports to this one workspace, and a workspace can have multiple users. So the members of a workspace, they will see all reports. So if I'm a member of Workspace, I can see report 1, 2, and 3, right? In addition to that, I can give access to people who are outside of my work group. These are my end users and testers. I can let them come and see one report, or I can let them come and see a collection of reports that I can bundle together with this structure called an app. So consumers can see either one individual report or reports individually. So I can share with them report 3, report 2, or I can put them together in this thing called app and give them a link to the app. When they open up, they're going to see both of them. Okay. So At the very high level, these are the different artifacts that you see in the service. Now, in order for this consumer to come in here and be able to see this report, there's a lot of things that are going to come into play. So the user license, the license type is important. The type of workspace is important. There's different kinds of workspaces. Then there are permissions, right? Not everybody can see everything. So setting up those permissions are important. And then finally, when they open up the report itself, how it's created and where it's pulling data from, it's important, makes a difference, okay? So in its simplest form, once you send a report out there to Power BI service, you just open it up, then you click on share, and it will give you the options. So this is a very high level. I just wanted to show you first before we got into demos. This particular interface has changed within the last month or so, maybe 2 months. It just switched. And a lot of people are not familiar with the new interface yet. So we're going to talk about this as well. All right, so let's do a demo. Let's go to demo. I'm going to show you my Power BI file. This Power BI file is created from AdventureWorks, Bissell AdventureWorks database, which I think most, sorry, it's created from the AdventureWorks sample database. And most of you are familiar with this database. All of the demos pretty much are done with this one. So if you look at this particular Power BI file, you see that there is a data tab here. And if I click on it, I will see the actual data in here. What this tells me is that this Power BI file is an import. So whoever created this, which is myself, of course, but if this was someone else's file as well, I would have known by just looking into here and seeing that there's data that person has imported data in here, okay? Now, this is important when you go to publish and share later on, because this one, I can actually take it and email it to somebody. It's not ideal, but because all the data is in it itself, I can email it to someone and that someone can open up. And when they open up these visuals, they're not going to hit the back end database where the data came from, right? Or the files came from. These visuals are going to hit the data set that's inside this file itself, okay? So let me publish this to the service. So I'm going to click on publish. It asks me if I want to save it. It always does that. And then I'm given a list of workspaces. So remember, workspaces are places to publish to. And I get the list of workspaces that someone has given me access to before. So someone said I can publish to these, right? So I'm going to go and pick this one, ABI Premium Workspace, and publish to it. I have, the name doesn't really make it a premium workspace or not. I've named it so I remember which one is my premium workspace, okay? So I'm going to choose this one, and this is going to publish there. Because I have published this before, it's asking me if I want to replace it. I'm going to say yes. And this will send a copy of this report to Power BI service, gives me a link. I can click on it and it will take me to Power BI service. I'm not going to click on this because my default browser is Edge. So it's going to open up in here, and I'm logged in with a different user. I don't want to go there. Okay. I want to go, see, I'm logged in with this Test Pro user. All right. So I'm going to go to, instead, I'm going to go to Chrome, where I'm logged in with Test Pro user. Let's just make sure. Yes. So I'm logged in with Test Pro user. All right. So in Power BI service, this is the home page, right? And then on the left-hand side, I have workspaces. So I can click on workspaces and I see the exact same list of workspaces that I saw from Power BI desktop. I can choose, now I can go and look at ABI Premium Workspace or any other and see what's in there. I can go to these workspaces from here because I am a member. I am a direct member. A member is different than if someone just shares a report with you. Okay, we're going to talk about that later. But for now, pay attention to the icons next to these workspaces. So this one has nothing next to it. this one has a diamond, and this one has a diamond and a person next to it. So these are different types of workspaces. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. All right, so let's go to ABI Premium Workspace and see what's in there. So there are 2 reports. So as I said before, we have 2 reports. This one I just published up here. It's 1 p.m. my time. So this just came up. Now, when I publish this report up to the service, it actually splits it into 2 pieces. It goes into a report part and a data set part. So the data set is the data part behind the Power BI file. So even though on your desktop, it's one, if you have imported data into your Power BI file, when it goes up to the service, it splits into 2, a data set file and a report file. And the report points to the data set, okay? Now, this actually, Power BI is doing that for you automatically, but this is actually best practice. So if you're working on a real project, it's actually good that you just create one file, you import your tables, you create your model, you create your relationships, and then you create another report that live connects to the Power BI data set that you publish the service and use that one, okay? So a little bit more on that later, okay? So this is a report. I am a member, so I can click on it and I can interact with the report, right? And from here, I can go and share. So if I click on share, then it takes me to that window that I had a screenshot of it for you. All right, so here, I'm going to come back to this in a minute, but for now, just know that this is how I would share this with somebody who is not a member of this workspace to end users. So I can say, share this with everybody in my organization. Everybody in my organization means everybody who has an email account with my domain. It is equivalent to NT authenticated users.
Oh, no.
All right, so let me close this, go back to the workspace and take a look at something. So I can open the report, right, and share, or I can click on this icon here and share. It does the exact same thing, all right? But before we get there, let's take a look at here. So let me do this one more time. Workspace. Okay, so let's go. I am missing an icon here and I'm wondering why. So give me one moment, but let me do this. Let me do share. All right, and then let's talk about this. So you can, this thing is interesting because you can click on it. It gives you 3 options, right? Then you choose this or you choose this, and then you click apply and it takes you to the previous screen. So I do this, I say everybody in my organization, and by the way, allow them to also share with other people. It depends on what you want to do, whether you want it or not. And so I'm going to turn it off for now. I'm going to say apply. So it takes me back to the previous screen, and this will generate a link. And if I do copy link, this is a link that I can send to people, or if you have the Outlook working, if you have the mail application with the Windows working, you can click on it. It's going to open up the mail, or you can do Teams. It will put that link in there. What this does is that everybody will get access to this report in your organization. You can also put the link here. So I'm going to go, give me one moment. So this is my other user. This is another user I'm logged in. I can put the link in here. So this user can see that report. This is a total different user. It's a free user, okay? So it can see the report by just generating that one link for them. All right, so let me go back. So I can share with everybody, or I can say I want to share with specific people, and I click on apply. Let's talk about these later. Let me turn this off. Okay, apply, and then you can type someone's email, or you can use an AD group. Okay, you can give people, specific people, access. In that case, that link only works for those people, nobody else. All right. And then the third option is people with existing access. This one, the link just gives them, it's for people who forget the link. So it's regenerating the link. It doesn't really give them access. So again, if you give this to somebody who doesn't already have access, it's not going to work for them. All right. Let me cancel that. So we're going to cancel out of this. And the one thing that I want to show you, I need to go here. Let me go back into the same workspace. So this is different user workspace. And as you can see, this user sees different things, but let me see why I cannot get to the members. I'm trying to show you the members of the workspace. But okay, that's fine. Let's go check this one. So this button, okay. So let's look at this other workspace. If you click on this access, then you see the members of the workspace. These are the people who see everything in your workspace. They're meant to be members of your team. And then of course you can type their email, and then you can give them different levels of access. Okay. So Workspace has multiple reports in it. It can have an app on top of it, which I haven't shown you yet. You can share a report directly, or later on you're going to see within an app. And when you share a report, you can always come back to find out who you have shared with. Now it's interesting, it showed up now. Let's see. Yep. So you can see that here. I have viewer member, I have a member, and I have an admin. Okay. Now, if you want to know who you have shared with, you just click on share, this share button again. And then this ellipse is up here. It's kind of hidden, but you click on that, you go to manage permissions, and here you see. So people below, they have direct access because they are members of the workspace. And above are people who have access otherwise. So in this scenario, I have generated links to entire org, and I can see it from here. I can also click on this advanced. It takes me to same information, just different window. So I can see direct access. Again, they're part of the workspace. And then links, it will tell me who they are, and I can click on it. I can change the settings from here. Okay. So let me go back to slides. Are there any questions about what I've showed you so far? If there are any questions, I can pause for a moment.
Actually, there is no question in chat box, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So hopefully everybody's following. All right. So now let's go back and take a look at a few concepts together. So when you create a Power BI report, it's important when it comes to sharing, it becomes important later on what's inside the Power BI report. Remember, when you create a Power BI report, sometimes the report doesn't contain data. You're just live connecting to someone else's either analysis services database or a Power BI data set. In that case, your report is just visuals and nothing else in it, okay? So in that case, you're just passing along the user to the source. Versus when you are importing data, then you are also controlling access because you're importing the data, the user is no longer going to the backend. So these are important. Then it's the workspace type. So there's currently 3 kinds of workspaces: shared, premium, and PPU. Then on top of that, it's the membership to the workspace and report and app permissions that are important. And then on top of that, finally, it's the user license that matters. So there's the free license, there is the pro license, and there's the premium per user, PPU user license, right? So someone logs in, you go to powerbi.com, depending on the kind of license that you have and the permissions that someone has given you. So let's say you're one of these licenses and someone has shared a report or an app with you, okay? Then depending on which workspace the report or app is part of, you may or may not be able to get in. Even if somebody shared it with you and gave you access, if you don't have the right user license with the workspace type, it's not going to let you in. You will get a message that says, hey, sorry, please upgrade. Okay. And then once you're past that, then you get to open the report. And at that point, whatever security is built around the report, it will become active. If you have role level security, then you must pass the security as defined in the report. So let's take a look at each one of these sections. We talked about this a little bit, so I'm going to go a little bit faster on this one. So when you create a Power BI report, you can live connect to a data set, right? In which case reports only visuals, or you can say, okay, I'm importing data and I'm defining the semantic model, the relationships and the calculations. Or you can say, I am not importing data. I'm using direct query where I'm going back to SQL Server to get my results. But in Power BI, I am defining how to connect tables together. I'm defining the joins. So user can still drag and drop. However, there's no data in the Power BI service. So when you share these with somebody, once they get to them, depending on which one of these they are, you have to pay attention to permissions. So in direct query, where semantic models using direct query, you are sending your users to the backend, which can be actually SQL Server. Now, mind you, this is not a black and white situation. This can be per table. So you can have these composite models where some of the tables are in memory, some are in the backend, or now you can do direct query against Power BI data sets. So you may be pulling stuff from two different places. Your user needs to have access to all those backend places if your queries are going there. Okay. I put a link here. It's a short video I created on YouTube that shows you how to separate a Power BI report into a model and a data set file. So a lot of people start with import, and then as their project grows, then they wish they could separate, because you want to have one data set, many reports. That's the best practice. So this just shows you real quick how you can do that. It's very easy to do that. All right, so we talked about the report. Now let's talk about the license, the user licenses. There are three kinds of licenses. One is the free. It is not really free. It means is that you're a business user. You still need to have a domain. You still need to be part of a tenant, a Microsoft tenant. Then there's the pro user. Okay, the pro user currently with the US currency is $9.99. You pay per month per user. And then there is the newest kind, which is premium per user. You can purchase it for $20 per month, or if you already have a pro user account, you can upgrade. So you pay an extra $10, so it's $19.99. Very close to each other, all right? Each one of these users can do different things. They can, when it comes to publishing and consuming, okay? And then there's the workspace type. Now, remember when we went into workspaces, some had diamonds, some had diamond and a person, some didn't have anything. Those are different workspace types. So everybody gets access to what is called a My Workspace. It is your personal playground. It's like a sandbox environment. Everybody, even a free user, can publish to it. So if you don't get Power BI from access to Power BI from work, for example, or school, you want to try it for yourself, you can get a free license and you can publish to My Workspace in Power BI service. Same thing with the pro or PP user. Everybody can publish there. It's really meant to be for you trying out some features of Power BI. It's not meant to be for a production environment, okay? Then you have these app workspaces that are meant for collaboration with others. These are the ones that I showed you when I was publishing to Power BI service. There are shared workspaces. You see the one without the diamond, it's called a shared workspace. And then there's premium workspace. And then there's a premium per user workspace, okay? The shared workspace or the non-premium workspace itself doesn't cost any money, okay? You pay for the user license. So you can purchase one license for yourself, a pro license, you can publish to it and you can consume, you can use that workspace. Or if there's 2 or 3 of you in a company and you want to use it, you can all purchase the pro license and work with it. Then there is the premium workspace. A premium workspace costs money. So there are many benefits to a premium workspace. You will get a lot more features. As you're going to see, you can have free users consume from it, but it costs money. And if I think the cost is a few $1,000s per month, right? The pro and PP users can publish to it. Notice that the free user cannot publish to the app workspaces at all. So you must have, anybody who publishes to the app workspaces must have a pro or PPU. With the last one, the PPU workspace, you don't pay for the workspace itself, right? You pay for the cost is in the user. So you get all the features of premium, but all of your users also must be the PPU. All of your users must be paying that $20 per month. So that's the difference. So the middle one is the only one where you actually have to purchase a premium capacity, which is like a server from Microsoft, and put your workspace on it. All right, so the flip side of that is when you're consuming content, okay? Notice that everybody can download from their own personal playground, personal My Workspace. The only other place that a free user can download from is the premium workspace. They cannot get from a shared workspace or a PPU workspace. So to summarize, a free or a business user, they can publish to My Workspace, they can read from My Workspace, they can read also from a premium workspace, right? They cannot do anything else. In the My Workspace, you can do a lot of things. You can open the report, you cannot share, free user cannot share. You can see the insights, the lineage, you can play with a lot of features there. If you try to do something that is not considered a free feature, you get a message from Power BI that says upgrade to Pro for 60 days. So it will prompt you. A Pro user, which is meant to be for a developer or tester, can do everything a free user can do. They can publish, they can share, they can also consume from a non-premium workspace. That's the big difference. If you are a free user, you can only consume from a premium workspace if someone shared with you. And if a pro user tries to access a PPU workspace, they will get a message from Power BI that says, you need to upgrade to the premium per user. So we'll give you, both of them will give you a 60-day trial for free at the moment. The PP user is like a super user. It can publish everywhere, it can read from everywhere, it can share. As long as it's been given access to those workspaces, it can do everything. It can publish, it can share. Remember, it can share out of a PPU workspace, but the consumer must have the right license to be able to open it. Okay. So what are some common scenarios, right? So if you're trying to decide what kind of licenses, what kind of workspaces you need, there are some common patterns out there. One is that if you're small company, right, and you have a few users, maybe you have 5 users, and you don't want to pay for the premium capacity that to host premium workspaces. Then you use the pro. So everybody's going to have a pro account. Your publishers and your consumers, everybody pays per month. The other scenario is that is for bigger companies. So if it's a bigger company that can actually pay for a premium capacity, which starts from almost $5,000 per month, US currency, but you have a lot of users. Let's say you have thousands of users, right? You can have maybe 20 users who have pro license. So you pay for 20 people $10 per month. And then on top of that, you pay that $5,000 per month. But now you can have thousands of free users consume that content. So you have to do the math and then also see which features, and based on that, you can decide. And then finally, if again, you're a small company, but you want to use the premium features, you cannot afford to get that premium capacity, then you can also pay for everybody to be a PPU. In this case, you are getting the premium features, but the cost is in the individual licenses. Any questions so far about the licenses before I go into the memberships?
Shabnam, actually, John Keegan is asking one question. If you don't mind, please have a look at chat box.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get to chat. Oh, I think I need to stop. Okay, hold on. There we go. Is premium per user treated the same as enterprise as far as sharing is concerned? PPU user and workspaces can do the same as an enterprise user. I am not sure what you mean by enterprise user. So if you have a PPU license, you can do everything. So that's like the highest level, right? You can publish to anywhere, you can share out of anywhere, you can consume. So if you want to, John, if you want to clarify there, if you're more than welcome to type in there, and I'll stop back and take a look at it in a little bit. All right. Okay, so we were here. Back. Okay, so permissions, right? So let's say you have the correct license, the correct workspace, you've made it in there to take a look at the content, right? Someone must give you permissions. Not every user can look at every workspace. All right, so this was the diagram that I showed in the beginning. You can give people membership to your entire workspace. These are people that you collaborate with. These are your teammates. Or you can bring them in and say, you can only see this report or you can see this app. All right. So the workspace members, there are different levels to them. The lowest level is a viewer. A viewer can look at the reports. It's suitable for testers. So you have somebody that you want them to quality check your report. This is the kind of membership you can give to them. Then the next one is the contributor can do everything viewer can do, plus they can publish. So you must be at least a contributor and above to publish to a workspace. Then there's a member. Member is the most common type of member. I know it's the same word, but this is the most common type of membership that I see. They can do everything. They can publish and update the app, which we haven't seen yet. And then finally, it's an admin. So the admin has full control. They can delete the workspace. They can update it. It can add other admins. So what you see is that you have, in a real scenario, you have a couple of admins, always good to have more than one. Then you're going to have a few members. And then then you have your viewers. So members are your active developers. Admin is the admin. And then there's a viewer. I don't see the contributor being used out there much in places that I've seen. All right, so now let's talk about the app. So app is where you bundle a couple of reports together and then you share them out with an audience. They will show up under this tab called apps in the Power BI service. And remember, even with the app, if you share an app that is not from a premium workspace, it's from a shared workspace, your free users won't be able to get to it. Okay. All right, so let's do a quick demo of the app. All right, let's go back to the workspace. And let me actually, I do have an app here, but I'm going to go and delete it. So if you have an app, you can go and unpublish it, but unpublishing actually changes the link of it. So you should not do this with something that's in production. Okay, so let's start from scratch. I'm going to click on create app. This will create an app. I'm going to call this test. You can give it an icon and then some description, and then we go to the navigation. This is interesting color. Huh. Okay, so in the navigation, you can see, you can choose the order, you can hide one of the reports. If you hide it, it doesn't really take it away. It's meant to be for if you're drilling through from one report to another. And then you see like all the reports are included. If I go back to the workspace, let's go back here. Let me see, there's a little bit more to the right, okay? So there's this toggle that says include in the app or not. So by default, when you publish something to Power BI service, it's always included in the app, okay? Or you can turn it off if you don't want a report to be part of an app. All right, so let's do this again. Test, navigation. So this is the navigation. And then you go to the permissions. So this is where you specify who can see your app, okay? Now, there is an option down here that says install this app automatically. What this means is that it will automatically show up in the app blade of Power BI service. So if I go here to this other user and look at the apps, you see that this user doesn't have anything automatically installed for them, but they can go and click on get apps, and that takes them to the app store. They're going to see the apps that are available to them, right? So this is an app that I've published before. All right, now let's go back here. All right. If you do entire organization, notice that this install app is going to gray out. See, if I do entire org, this will gray out. This is because it's trying to prevent you from cluttering people's workspaces, all right? Or you can say specific individuals. So I can do test non-pro user, which is my other account. And then you can decide, okay, can this user build off of the underlying data set? These are decisions that you have to make. It will give them build permission, and build permission means they can do analyze in Excel, or you can directly connect to it and create their own report. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to give that permission to someone or not. Okay. So just like this, and then we go publish app, publish, and this will generate a link. I'm also going to copy it and go to app. So this is how it looks like. So I got different pages I can go to, and I can look at all my reports. And this other person, if I look at it, I don't think we automatically installed it, but should be able to see. Should be able to see it from here, but you can also do this. You can also put the link. And if someone clicks on the link one time, this window went by real quick. It actually does install it for you. Let me do a refresh here. Yes, so you see this app is installed, and then you can, this person can actually delete it if they wanted to. So anyway, so this is the app. All right, now let's go back to the slides and I'll show you a couple of things about the app. So we talked about this install app automatically. This is really recommended if you are installing for a small, automatically installing for a small group of people. The problem with it is that when you auto install, that end user cannot uninstall it from their app blade. This is a tenant setting, so you can actually disable this so that people are not able to push the entire org. It depends, again, if you're working in a large organization, you don't want tons and tons of these apps to show up in your organization. The build permissions, I would give them out only if your model is built so well that regardless of how people drag and drop, it's still going to produce correct results, right? If your report is built so that you must have the right filter in place, the right things on the columns and rows for it to work, you don't want to do that. So you only do this if you're absolutely sure that no matter how people drag and drop, you are going to generate correct results. That's when you can give the build permission, okay? And then there is this setting that allows you to build off of a shared data set, okay? I'm going to show that in the next slide, but just know that just because you give, again, when you give build permission, those restrictions for the type of the license still are important. A pro user and non-pro user can only build from a premium workspace. But they can build, but still they can't publish it anywhere, okay? And this, the ability to be able to share across workspaces itself is also a tenant setting that you can enable or disable, all right? So what's a use case of sharing, giving build permission across workspaces? Let's say that you have two sets of reports, right, that are built off of your data set, okay? You want to give one set of reports to one set of users, the other set of reports to the other set of users. It is not a matter of security. We're not talking about role-level security. They're not supposed to see each other's data. We're talking about a scenario where it's just for convenience. It's just for bundling. You're trying to declutter user experience, right? But the underlying data set is the same. Well, the problem is that in Power BI currently, one workspace can only have one app, one workspace, one app. So how would you solve this problem? You would create two workspaces, okay? Remember, workspaces themselves don't cost money. The cost is in your pro licenses and it's on your premium capacity. When you have a premium capacity, you can put multiple workspaces on it, okay? So you would create two workspaces. Each workspace has its own app. Each workspace has its own set of reports, but there's only one data set. Your data set is only in your first workspace. The reports from the second workspace, they point to the data set in the first workspace. They live connect. So when these reports are created by going to Power BI and saying, get data from Power BI data sets, point here, build, publish. So this is a scenario that allows you to have two sets of reports out there for two different audiences. Again, this is not security. This is not role-level security. This is more like an experience option. There is one thing I want to mention about the app and the report links. So when you publish an app is the best way to share content with a large audience because it lets you do entire org, right? Or you can pick AD groups. The reason it's good to use an app versus the report directly is that when you create an app, it creates a copy of your report. So there's actually an additional copy of your report. If you make a change to your report, it doesn't automatically reflect in your app, okay? Not the data, we're talking about the visual. So if you change the header of the visual in your report, it's not going to automatically show in the app. what you can do with this, you can use this as a development environment, right? So you can do like treat it as a small version of a development and production. So you change the report in your workspace, you show your coworkers, you show your boss, everybody's happy. Then you click on publish app, update app, and it will update the app for you. So that's one benefit. The other benefit is that the link for the app does not change. So if you share that link with users, it doesn't change. However, there's a caveat to that, and that is the link for the app, even though it doesn't share, the moment you put it in the browser, it redirects to the first report in the app, okay? Now, if people bookmark that instead of the original link, and you delete that first report, next time you're publishing your app, you decide, I don't want to have this report, you delete it. Then you're going to break the app for people because it's going to go and look for that first report. So always be careful with that first report in the app and what you do with it. You can alternatively ask people to favorite the app itself from Power BI service instead of doing this, or create a link manually. All right, so then the other option of sharing is sharing in Teams, and I'm going to show that to you in one moment. You can click on chat in Teams and go there, or you can create a tab in there. And then you can also embed a report. So you can generate an embed code and put it in SharePoint or a website or a portal. So let's go do that, and then we'll come back to here. All right, so let me open up my Teams first. And then from here, so you can open up a report, whether it's from within an app or a report directly itself. It's all going to depend on what you want the end user's experience to be, and from a developer perspective, which one works better for you. So if you click on chat in Teams, this will open up Teams. If it doesn't open up, there's always a open up. It says if it's not working, click here, and that helps. Sometimes a different browser helps. So I'm going to call this is you choose your channel and you click on share, and now a link has been shared. Okay, so now if I go to Teams, which is here, if I go to my Teams, still loading. Oh, okay, I know. I was on the files in the post. So you see 150, this is what showed up. And now you can comment on it. You can say, you can collaborate. Oh, this is great. Again, this does not give people access. It doesn't give them permissions, right? Those are all set from the workspace. This just gives them a link to go to it. So you can do this, or you can, from a channel, you can go and say more tabs and then choose Power BI. And then when Power BI comes up, you get access to everything that you see from Power BI service. Just being slow. Does not like this. Let's give it one more moment and see. Okay, let's try one more time. Let me actually delete this. We'll see if I can delete this one. We delete one of the remove. Let's try one more time. Well, it's like Teams gets me every time. So All right, I don't know why it's not loading. So if it was coming up, right? If it was coming up, then it would have given me a window where I can basically choose from whether I want to pick an app or a report, right? And then if you pick a report, it's always going to work. If you pick an app, the app must be pre-installed for the user for it to work. So otherwise in Teams, it's not going to work. Now, I just wanted to show you this other thing also. So now, depending on which version of Teams you have, if you go to your apps blade, you can actually bring in Power BI service as well. But seems like my team's having an issue. So this would bring the Power BI service interface entirely up within Teams. Okay, which is not working right now. So let's go back to Power BI service and try something else. All right. So we go to Workspaces, Power BI Premium Workspace. And let's open up AdventureWorks so that I can show you a couple of other options. All right, so this was the share. We talked about the share. We talked about chat in Teams. And then there's, of course, the export. This is the analyze in Excel that requires the build permission off of the underlying data set. Someone must have given this to you in order for you to be able to open in Excel. And then if you go to File, you go under Embed Report, this will generate code. So publish to web generates a link. It creates a copy of your report. There's no security around it. You can share with everybody, but there's no security. You can't say this person can come in, this person cannot. It's an all or nothing scenario. So you only want to do this for A, the data that you 100% own, and B, data that you want everybody to see and you're okay with it. Then there is the website or portal. So this either generates an iframe or generates a link that you can use. So depending on the web interface, the web technology that you're using, one of these may work better, okay? And then there's the embed report onto SharePoint. So SharePoint has a Power BI web component. So you can put that web component on your screen and then you put this link and then you can share, you can open up. Now with SharePoint, the same thing that I mentioned with apps being pre-installed does matter. Same thing with Teams. So when you're embedding in SharePoint with an app, not the report, if you embed the app must be pre-installed for the user. It creates a bit of a chicken and egg problem, because if you're working with a large audience, you may not want to pre-install for them, but then if they go to SharePoint, they can see it open. So one solution is to have a link on your SharePoint page that says, click here if you see an error to install this app just one time. Okay. And then, so you can see like this user right now has 2 apps. And I can tell that this was not auto-installed because I can delete this. And same with this one, I can delete this one as well. Okay. All right, so that was the embedding, and let's go back here. And then finally, it's the subscriptions, right? So when you have a report open or an app, again, depending which one you want to use. Oh, yep, I am not the owner. So it says, so if you are the consumer, you can subscribe yourself. You can say, I want to get a copy of this report on the schedule, this time of the day, and how I want it. I want an attachment or not, right? But if you are the actual owner, which if I go from here and I open up this report, I can actually subscribe other people as well. So see, I don't get that message anymore. So now I can tell who else to subscribe to. Okay, so this is very straightforward. You just set a schedule and that's it. All right, and then that brings me to the end of the demo. So, we looked at different ways of sharing, right? So you can share a report directly out of Workspace. You can bundle your reports into an app and share that. And when you have either report or the app, you can embed them in Team or you can embed them in SharePoint. Just remember, generally, best practice is to use the app, not the report directly, to share with a large audience. However, most recently, the newer version of sharing a report also has the option of sharing with the entire org. So you may have to think about that. So I have some references on these slides that I'm going to upload later, a newer version of it to my blog, and I'm going to share that with Elgar if he wants to post the meetup for you guys to have. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned a couple of things. Let me know what questions you have.
Thank you very much, Shabnam, for your wonderful session. Actually, we have some questions. Please be so kind as to have a look at chat box. Okay.
Yes, one moment. Okay. Okay, so let's go back. So John asks,
Keegan.
What's that?
This is John Keegan is asking, how does refresh work?
Correct. So John asks, is PPU the same as the Pro with a premium capacity? Yes. So PPU has the exact same capabilities as a Pro user who has access to a premium capacity. The difference is that with PPU, behind the scenes, you don't really have a dedicated capacity to your company. It's actually shared with other companies on Microsoft's infrastructure, right? And you don't get access to some of the capacity settings as you would get with a premium capacity, but it's very close to it from a feature-wise. All right, and then John asks, how does refresh work? Do I only need to schedule refresh of data flow? Will that automatically update data set? Will that automatically update report? Will that automatically update app? Or do users need to select refresh at any of these points? So if, let's say you have it, if your data set is built off of a data flow, so with data flow, you are pulling data into Power BI's memory, and then your Power BI pulls from it into memory. Then if you refresh the data set, everything upstream from it will show the refresh data. So next time someone opens a report or next time the person hits refresh, they will see the newest data. So the refresh of data in the scenario is happening at the data set, everything upstream, the report and the app. The users may need to hit refresh at some point if they have cached it on their screen. So if you open it up and leave it open and your backend data has changed, then they may have to hit refresh. So I hope that answered that question. And then if your backend is a direct query, so if your model is in direct query where everything's going back to the backend SQL server, of course, there is no data refresh, right? On the Power BI side, there's no more data refresh. Everything's going to the backend. Again, some caching may happen on the front end, so the user may have to hit refresh or make different selections to force it to send a fresh query out. All right, Nerd Dad says, what causes reports GUID in the URL to change? Is it based on the report's name or something else? Sometimes demos don't work when you're sharing. It's a known bug. Okay. I think what causes reports GUID to change anytime you publish? I think every time you publish, I think it gets a new report, right? I don't think republishing over an existing report would change its GUID. Now remember, the app doesn't change ever. The link for the app doesn't change, and that's why it's better to share with an app. So if I didn't answer your question, feel free to type in there.
Near that is just watching us on our YouTube channel. Okay.
Okay.
So one question I would like to ask Shabnam. Is it possible to publish one data set into Workspace, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can publish one data set into Workspace, right?
Correct.
Okay. And as for the template, I mean the presentation that you have used, actually I have downloaded it from your blog. Is it the same
Yes.
or there are some changes?
There are some changes. It's very close. I can email this to you. This one I added some of these common scenarios here. There are a few some minor changes, a few more slides. I can email you a newer version.
Okay, I will share with the registered people.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So if guys you have a question, please ask. If you don't have question, I kindly ask you to turn on your cameras. I would like to take a picture, if you don't mind. Okay. Let's who turns on his or her camera. No one wants to be shown up. Okay.